quick programming note as we get started tonight. As some of you may know, college is back in session in the United States of America, and Triple H's oldest daughter is off to college, and he has gone home to be a part of that amazing life moment. So congratulations, of course, to the whole Wwe family. With that in mind, you guys are stuck with me to go over some of the business points of this wonderful evening in Bash in Berlin and the overall tour that WWE has been on. Bash in Berlin, I love saying this, is the highest grossing arena event in WWE history. That's the third time this year we've been able to say that. We set a new arena gate record with Backlash in France, Clash of the Castle in Scotland. Also tonight was our 55th sellout in 2024. And there were 13,149 incredible fans in attendance this evening. I have been on this entire tour, whether it was Rotterdam, Oberhausen, Brussels, Stuttgart, Frankfurt, of course Berlin. Everything they tell you, growing up in the industry about pro wrestling and German fans and what that's like, and the mythos and the history, and you hear about Bret Hart coming over here and just the hysteria about what we do. It's really fun to see that perception and reality are all the same. Incredible fans, and it was just an honor to compete and perform for them each and every night. I'd like to quickly, as we're covering some of the business elements of this, Davari and Chris Abyss, producers for that live event tour, really did a wonderful job. I don't think they often get the credit they do for keeping a bunch of rowdy wrestlers on the page and getting us from town to town and being able to do this the way we do. Also Byron MC for the entire event and did an incredible job. Thank you, Byron. And we're headed back to the US. We're looking forward to big debuts back in the United States. Of course, SmackDown to USA on September 13th, NXT to the CW on October 1st, and then Monday Night Raw is heading to Netflix on January 6th. With that stated, let's open it up for questions.
If you have a question for the undisputed WWE Champion, raise your hand, state your name and the media outlet you are affiliated with, and we'll start off right here in the first row.
Hi, I'm Marlene from Promi Flash. Now that you won your match against Kevin, what do you think where you stand with you and your friendship, where you're standing?
Oh, that's a great question. I think a lot of people who watch a good chunk of pro wrestling probably could have called, Kevin's turning on Cody. That's as obvious as it gets. And it speaks to the strength of our relationship. Kevin and I's relationship. Last night's promo on SmackDown dove into it a little further. It's incredibly deep, incredibly complex. I've never told him this before, but I often feel like I'm chasing behind him because, again, when he showed up on the scene, he's picking fights with John Cena and the top stars. I was still painting my face and just so far behind the 8 ball, and that feels good as a competitor and a performer where you could be in the ring and let them know and show them, even your friends. But it was a really touching moment to be able to share that with him. I think I've only ever walked to the back with my arms like this with somebody. I think the only 2 people I did it with besides Kevin was Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, and then my brother Dustin way back when I was at AEW. So that was special to have those 3 guys all share that type of moment with them.
Next question, we'll head to the second row.
Jamal Niaz here for Seconds Out. Now, Cody, obviously being world champion comes with a massive target on your back, and it's kind of shown that you got to be wary even of your closest friends with you questioning Kevin Owens' loyalty. I think a lot of people were questioning Randy Orton earlier in the summer as well, with the way he was eyeing up the WWE title. Do you feel that he could potentially be eyeing you up in the future, and are you wary of him given his past?
That's a great question. I also would like to not deflect by any means. I'll dive into it, but I do want to congratulate Randy and Gunther, because when you go over these new arena gate records, as exciting as they are, those were the guys who were on top. Those are the ones that all of the local talent, all of us in the locker room, top to bottom on the card, should be going to and thanking for the house. So Gunther, Randy Orton, thank you for the house. In terms of him eyeing the title, I have seen a lot of rumblings in terms of, you know, your ear to the ground. You feel like people might want to see that match. It's a very, very different match than when I first showed up on Monday Night Raw, and the person I wrestled was actually Randy Orton. Gosh, I don't want to give you a bad answer, but that match, a lot would have to happen for that match to take place. Again, that's a very real relationship and friendship, and the mentor and the student, but it's certainly not something I would back down from. Because like I just said, sometimes the people you want to know how you've grown the most is the ones closest to you, and nobody's closer to me than Randy Orton. So if it happens, that's a lot of drama. You know, as the Bloodline fans like to say, the cinema. It's a lot of cinema. But right now, no plans for it.
Right hand side, second row.
Denise, Salcedo, Instinct Culture. Cody, you've now been champion for several months. Before you defeated Roman Reigns, obviously you must have imagined being champion. Has it been what you envisioned so far?
You know, I dreamed of this was a big thing I wanted, to win the WWE title and be the first Rhodes with the biggest prize in our game. But I can't say it's not been what I've envisioned as much as I could have never guessed, even with a lifetime of building up to it, I could have never guessed the amount of responsibility that is handed to you in terms of how you go about doing the live events, how you go about doing your press, your meet, and just every piece of it. I thought I had a lifetime to prepare for it. And I remember Roman Reigns actually said something to me in an interview, you know, face to face. He was talking about the idea of if I was to get to the edge of the mountain and actually do this, that I'd be really tired. And I don't like the T word at all. I don't believe in it in our industry. I think the grind is a good thing. But I can say there was definitely some truth to what he was saying, because it's a different type of responsibility. I'm still having the most fun I've ever had in my life. I really am, but with every step you make, it affects the WWE. And that's just a lot of responsibility. So if anything, it's, I hope, made me better as, of course, a pro wrestler, sports entertainer, but I hope it's made me better as someone here in this company, WWE, and just my, I guess, my business savvy, as Mr. Heyman always calls it, in terms of navigating a future in pro wrestling once I officially hang up the boots, if that makes any sense. You know, it's a long-winded answer, I apologize. It's been amazing, no doubt. And one of the things, not to get too inside baseball, but we talked about 55 sellouts. I believe it's actually several outlets, you know, and people you know who have reported the record grosses. If I was to tell you the record grosses for this company, you'd think it was a Cody lie. It's unreal. This is just a really beautiful renaissance period for the business. Happy for everyone involved with it, all of us.
Thank you.
Last row.
Hi Cody, James D'Lo from Gorilla Position.
Long time, man.
Long time, haven't
Yeah, you've been avoiding me, huh?
you? Well,
Yeah.
you're a dodgy character.
Well,
Congratulations on tonight. You
Thank you.
thanked Randy and Gunther
Yeah.
for the house. You opened the show tonight with KO. You opened the show with AJ, a clash at the Castle in Glasgow. Roman Reigns is also back.
Yeah.
Are there any honest insecurities within you that is worried about losing your position as the poster boy for WWE after such a big build-up of you winning the gold?
Well, I think if I'm speaking honestly, they're not insecurities and they're not concerns, but I'd be naive to not acknowledge, no pun intended, the challenge. I I love this. And maybe in just going off my last answer, one of the things, again, I had a lifetime of experience to get ready for this. That's the biggest challenge in front of me in terms of what's the new task for me. Again, the idea of being the poster boy at all. My gosh, that's an amazing feeling. That's special. It will end at some point, but I will certainly put up every bit of a fight. And it's not just the OTC, it's not just Roman Reigns. This is John Cena's farewell run. I am up there in very rare air with special characters, people like CM Punk. If anything, how you phrased it, another way I would put it, it's a great problem to have for WWE. And I think both, strictly speaking, the man you mentioned and myself, we like that. We have pitted ourselves against each other, not just at WrestleMania in the main event, but in every aspect behind the scenes too, and not in a dishonest way, in an honest way. Better man's gonna win. And that's, again, a good problem to have.
First row.
Hi, Cody. Thilo from
Hello.
Thilo, from Young and Eve. Since you mentioned Netflix, I don't know if you saw the announcement of the Netflix doc on Vince. Are you gonna watch it? And are you familiar with the Janelle Grant story? Do you personally believe what she's saying, and does the locker room believe it? Because the locker room has been awfully silent on this whole issue. You know, the allegations about sex trafficking and rape.
Yeah, I think it's a great question in terms of am I going to watch it. Not to sound cheeky by any means, I am deep in a Game of Thrones rewatch, and that is a hell of a lot of commitment. I don't know. I think there's a bit of misinformation in terms of WWE has no involvement in this documentary as far as I know. I imagine I would get around to seeing it. In terms of the more serious and the meat in your question, in terms of the locker room being quiet or silent, whatever it may be, I don't think that's a matter of belief versus non-belief. I think it's strictly speaking, we want to be doing what we were doing out there, and the focus and attention that it takes, 13,149 people to have a great story and have a great match and do that every single night has left most of us where we're finding the information out just as you are. And that includes the resolution of this information in terms of what happened, how it happened, and how justice comes about, whatever it may be. But I wouldn't look at it as an active attempt from the locker room to be silent in the attempt. We just are doing what we do day to day, WWE business.
Do you believe her? Do
Sorry?
you believe her? Do you believe Janelle Grant?
Oh, I don't know enough about the information to give you a good enough answer there. I'm sorry.
Byron, one last question.
All right, one last question. We'll head to third row over here.
Where?
Andre from Road to Music. I just wanted to ask about Bret Hart. You just mentioned him. You said that, or there was a video package last week about that Bret Hart always said that Germany is a very special place for him, and the German fans as well. And I wanted to ask if you maybe know if there were any plans to bring back Bret Hart for just this event tonight, and also what was different for you here in Germany tonight comparing to France and Puerto Rico, for example.
Well, I don't know if there was any plans. Again, something above my pay grade in terms of the hitman himself. But one of the things I'll say, you're spot on with how particularly popular he was in Germany. That was a myth that turned out to be real. I actually love the fact that we didn't have any of that tonight. It was Gunther from Austria, Ludwig actually here in Germany, Randy Orton. It was the current roster. We did not rely on anything from the past necessarily, and I don't mean that with any disrespect to the past. I just mean I'm proud of this roster for doing it. Was there a second part to your question?
Yeah, about if you have any comparison comparisons to the France audience?
Oh.
What was the different?
Listen, because tonight I got the sense that the audience was really putting in their best effort to, hey, we're going to show France, we're going to show Scotland, we'll show Italy, you know, all these places. I've been in the ring in all these. I'll tell you the truth. The winner is Europe. The winner is Europe. These crowds are incredibly unique. They all have a different flavor, and it makes us better as far as competitors and performers. The fact that we get to test ourselves in all these different places. So just, there hasn't been one flat out, I wouldn't lie to you, there hasn't been one that's like, ugh, that place. We haven't had that. Every place has been really, really incredible with these international PLEs, and shout out to, you know, TKO and Nick Khan for making world wrestling entertainment, you know, really worldwide. It was really touching to see, for example, Sebastian out there in the ring tonight. I know he's been on board with WWE in Germany for so long, and for him to have a good moment in his home country and Spa, it's just a beautiful thing.
All right, Cody, thank you for spending some time with us. Congratulations on the retention of your undisputed WWE Championship.